Okay, so we have to do a part 2. Welcome back, YouTube. If you watch the part 1 of my US coverage, just cut off randomly. Maybe the file even got corrupted. I might not even be able to upload it. But anyway, my power just went out. I'm back. Let's go ahead and jump back into our US news. I'm doing my dab. It's the best channel on Twitch. Thank you, Lenny. Thank you. It's the only opinion that matters on Twitch. Oh! I'm sure you allowed me to post a link here for you. You just shame me. I gotta give you a little shit. Most streamers don't let you post the link. It's fine. I gotta give you a little shit. That's not fun. Give you a little. I gotta poke you a little bit for that one. Anyway, so you see the clip here.
I'm not gonna tell you his name, but this is my best friend's vehicle. So you need to.
Oh, cool.
You need to pull over.
So that's how the story begins. Take a look at how the story ends. Woo! Whoops. This guy was so high. He was so fucking high, dude. He has no idea even what the fuck's going on. Wow, dude. He trashed that truck, dude. He trashed it.
Because this is my buddy's
He just got super high and trashed this fucking thing.
But this is my best friend's vehicle. So you need to pull over.
Oh, that's amazing. All right. Moving on. So here's another thing that this post incorrectly reports details from a 2017 article. The article stated that Hooters closed down some locations due to a sales slump that is hitting mostly sit-down casual dining chains. Hooters will remain. Locations and attire are just being made more family-friendly. So here's another thing that millennials have destroyed. Millennials have destroyed Hooters, guys. We killed Hooters, man. Add it to the list. Add it to the list of things that millennials... No, so this is Daily Loud misinterpreting this article from 2017. It says, Hooters is shutting down and rebranding after new study shows that millennials aren't that into boobs. Not exactly true. But also true. Kind of true. Also kind of true. Wonder who brought stock in Hooters Airlines. It's pretty sexist. It's unbelievable that it even still exists, quite frankly. Hooters. I just thought that was funny. Just another thing millennials are destroying. This is the wokerati. Never been in Hooters, but I heard a lot and seen photos. All photos I've seen were girls that look kind of desperate. Oh, ouch. Well, here's a girl that is not desperate. What are they going to be called? I know exactly. It's like the you wouldn't dare change the brand, right? They should call it Beavers, and it should be, they should do like what they did in Harold and Kumar, and it's like all the chicks are wearing, normal tops, but it's like fully exposed from the waist down. That's what they should call it. So here we have, I told you we had some really fun US news. Thank you for coming back, Zio. From Now This, quote, I look forward to spanking each and every single one of you. A dominatrix attended a city commission meeting in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, to demand funds for a new dungeon. She's serious, folks. Demand funds. She went in there like the chick, like what was the chick's name who was like, she was like working with Cobra Commander. She was like the only chick in the army. Anyway, let's take a look at this. Let's hear what she had to say. Oh, really?
Guy in the shorts better get out of the way. Dominatrix coming through to take the mic at a Fort Lauderdale City Commission meeting.
Good evening, council peoples. You may call me Mistress.
Wearing an outfit that everyone kept comparing to Daft Punk. There was no way not to lose yourself to Mistress as she brought up the contract for solid waste management.
That you will spend almost $1 million.
Of course, that got compared to Dr. Evil.
$1 million.
Mistress proposed they spend a quarter of that million to support dominants and submissives.
To build a dungeon.
And in that dungeon,
I look forward to spanking each and every single one of you.
The commission members were unfazed. Dare we say submissive?
And happy holidays to you.
City manager, are there any districts that have a dungeon?
Not that I know of.
We wanted to know more about the mistress who gave her name as Ms. Trey Crave. So how do you find a dominatrix disguised in latex?
Hi, is this the South Florida Dungeon Rental? Do you by any chance know a dominatrix by the name of Trey Crave?
Not offhand, I don't. Thank you for calling Fetish Factory, your ultimate source for everything fetish.
Eventually, our informants led us to a club called Crave X Miami, where they don't answer, "How may I help you?"
How may I spank you?
How may you spank me?
Some in the fetish community said Mistress Crave is giving them all a bad name. But Crave told CNN anyone who says that requires firm and forceful punishment.
she's not giving dominatrix a bad name. Are you joking? This is Are you kidding? She's converting doms everywhere she goes, man. Everywhere she goes.
In a club, she did manage to create some spanking new headlines. Ginny Mose, CNN.
You are dismissed.
New York.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks. She's awesome. She's fucking awesome, dude. She's awesome. If I wasn't married, she could spank me all for 5 minutes, and then I'll get sore, and I want to go home. Not my cup of tea. Not your cup of tea. It would be my cup of tea until it really starts hurting. It's like, okay, this is no more fun. So kind of a follow-up to our climate news here. Take a look at what happened over here in Tennessee, in Nashville, Southwest Air. Remember this next time you're flying. Okay, Southwest Air is one of the worst. But in Nashville, Southwest Air called the cops on stranded passengers who then threatened them with arrest. An understandably outraged lawyer pushed back, demanding to know on what grounds. Quite a mess. So there's actually a lawyer in this video who's pushing back on the cops in real time. And isn't that great? Isn't that great? By the way, we fucked you. We're not giving you refunds, or we're going to make you, wait on the phone 8-9 hours. I'm serious. 8-9 hours on the phone before you can get a human being who will hem and haw and push back on your refund and try to hold on to as much of your money as possible without actually providing you with a service. So we're going to do all that. And on top of that, because we don't want to pay our staff to, and worry about all this liability, we're just going to kick you out. It's freezing cold. I don't give a shit. You don't have a hotel. I don't give a shit. This is Southwest Air. What'd you expect? Courtesy? Treating people like human beings? This is an airline. We treat you like cattle. Well, if we could, we'd knock you out with sedatives and stack you like slaves on a slave ship. But they won't let us legally do that yet. That's how little respect we have. And we'd charge you $1,000 for it, too. So anyway, get a look at what Southwest Airlines thinks of their customers.
Stu and her needs to leave, or you'll be arrested for trespassing.
Are you kidding me?
Go.
Are you spelling that? Yeah. Okay.
Right now, everybody to the unsecure side. The ticket counter will help you with any questions you have. Go. Yes. You have no ticket. You don't need to be in the secured side. Let's go.
We have tickets.
The ticket just got canceled.
We're not here for that flight.
Badge number 26.
What a layover. Like, there ain't no, like...
We're not.
Okay.
We're not even here for this flight.
Where are you trying to go?
Tampa.
So are you guys all, everybody here is trying to go to Tampa?
I don't know.
No.
I mean,
We didn't ask
I got
everybody.
nowhere to go. Yeah, that's my wife. I got nowhere to go.
We're stuck here. What can I do for you?
Okay, so are we just going to be
Removing
kicked to the
toilets.
curb, or are you going
I'm
to
like,
ask us?
you can't kick us out of the airport. Like,
You said you're going to arrest people for trespassing,
Yes.
for being at a ticket counter for a
If you
flight.
don't have a valid ticket and you're on the secured side or refuse to leave, you will be arrested.
We do have tickets. We have
Okay,
valid
where's your
tickets. They're
ticket
just
skewed?
not to Washington, D.C. or Phoenix.
You refuse to
Okay.
leave.
I'm just trying to make the legal connection. I'm
All
an
right,
attorney,
there's a
and I want to make sure I
TCA
understand
called
it.
Airport and Aircraft Security that says if you're told to leave and you refuse to leave,
With a valid ticket at a ticket
you don't have a
counter.
valid ticket. Your ticket got canceled.
So my ticket. So the instruction we got somewhere else.
All right, well, the instruction you're getting now,
Okay.
okay, my PC starts when I tell you to leave and you refuse to leave. You're an attorney, you understand that, right?
Yeah.
Are you refusing to leave the secured side?
No, I'm not refusing to leave. I'm asking for additional information.
What information can I provide you?
Can you cite the statute for me so I can make sure that when I go and refer to it, I have a clear understanding, Mr. Ali?
Airport and Aircraft Security.
You don't have a
I don't
section
need, I
number
don't need
none
to
of
give you
that?
the code. If
Okay.
you're an attorney, you can look it up in
I
section
will.
39
I
of
will,
the
sir.
miscellaneous law.
I will. Thank you very kindly.
You're
So-
very welcome. Please.
So I mean, it's a little bit of a salacious headline because what's happening here is that so there for the people that have literally never been on an airplane in the last 30 years, just real quick, they have a secure area where you have to go through this whole security process. You get checkpoints and they check your luggage, they fondle your balls, they do that whole thing. And then you're in the secure area, right? You can't bring food into it. You can't bring your own liquids, right? You got to buy all that there. And and then you got to take your shoes off, all that shit to get in there, right? Then once you're in there, it's assumed that you're all good to go. So what they're doing is that, okay, the flight's canceled. And we also don't have the staff and the support at the gate, because they have a desk right at the gate where the plane connects. So we're not handling questions there. Your flight's been canceled. Your ticket's no longer valid. So you got to go back to the unsecure area. So they're not exactly, I was a little wrong there. They're not exactly kicking them out of the building. And let me tell you, they'll have like one or two people there at the desk and they won't be able to do jack shit for you. The people at the desk tell you to call the phone number. And then you call the phone number. It's like, your number 7 million. Hope you don't mind waiting an actual week before you get a human being. And then, of course, you'll wait for hours. You'll keep your cell phone charged, and then it'll just randomly hang up on you. You'll never get to a human being. You'll put you right to the back of the line, right? It's all intentional, okay? They could build and invest in better systems to handle this, but they don't, because they want you to give up and they keep the money. It's a scam. They're fucking scamming people. Right? It should be illegal for if a person, like, if you're left waiting, I don't know, 2 hours. Let's just extreme. It should be illegal for you to like run a business like that. I parted him back and then started to make a panic. Police officer took my passport and walked out somewhere. Oh yeah, I'm in from my home in Mexico without my documents. Oh yeah, that's spooky. Yeah, Jod. Yeah, it's scary. It's like, can I get my documents back? So there you go. Just a brief glimpse of the fucking chaos, right? And let me tell you, these private airline companies, they need to go. We need a solid, well-funded public airline that is free to compete with these private entities. And because the public airline would set a baseline, right? The public airline would set a baseline. It would not be profit driven. It would be like, here's the baseline for quality. Here's the baseline for leg room. Oh, if your airline isn't as good as the government fucking cheese airline, then you're out of business. Oh no, my business. Oh no, I'm a millionaire. What are you gonna do for me? Nothing. Welcome to capitalism, bitch. Get fucked. Welcome to capitalism. You either provide a better service than the baseline, or you get the fuck out of business. That's why we need a public fucking airline. Yes, to compete directly with these fucking criminals cramming us in. Of course they would, Zio. Of course, the oligarchy is the enemy of the people. All right? Yeah, expect that resistance and expect to fight it vociferously. And if you're a politician and you're not doing that, get the fuck out of here. Well, welcome to getting primaried and replaced. That's the attitude that lefties need to have when it comes to politicians. But what did FDR say? Like, I relish, their hatred when it came to bankers. That's what we need. We need fighters, not capitulators. And well, I don't know, AOC over here. I don't know if I should make an enemy of Nancy Pelosi. Oh, gee, I don't know. I got to play the game here. Moving on. I found this clip fucking hilarious. I found this clip just fucking hilarious. So what do we have on our left? Grifter, liar, bad faith actor when it comes to Ukraine. Fake ass progressive warmonger. And what do we have on the right? A straight up con man, a fucking liar. And he's become an instant pariah for the Republican Party, right? Because the moment he got into office, he got called out on all of his lies. I bet the Democrat running against this guy is like, where was this fucking information literally a week ago? Right? But no. So we got a con woman calling out a con man for being too much of a con man, but doing too apparent of a con man. I just love it. The fucking grift, man. The fucking grift. People eating themselves alive. It's not enough though. Yeah, don't hold your breath, Lenny. I wish there were going to be legal ramifications for Santos, but there ain't going to be legal ramifications for Trump, and we will be talking about that. Coming up.
And now I want to put this past me so I can deliver for the American people.
The thing is, Congressman-elect, integrity means, yes, carrying yourself with honor, but it means telling the truth.
Jod's from Ukraine. He doesn't actually know what's going on. This guy got into office, and it turns out he completely lied about his record, his education. He all of a sudden received like $75,000. He like bought like a $75,000 car or something like that. There's big questions on where this guy came from, where he got his money, and it's undeniable that he's completely lied about his qualifications. So, even an exceptional liar, even for the Republican Party in the United States.
Being a person of integrity, and if I were one of those in New York's 3rd district right now that the election is over, and I'm finding out all of these lies that you've told, not just one little lie or one little embellishment. These are blatant lies. My question is, do you have no shame? Do you have no shame in the people who are now you're asking to...
Isn't that fucking rich coming from Tulsi? Isn't that fucking rich coming from... Do you have no shame? You know why she's saying these things, right? Because the Republican establishment has written this guy off. If the Republican establishment was backing him up, do you think Tulsi Gabbard would be saying, do you have no shame? No, he's been given the axe. He's been given the axe by Mitch McConnell and the rest, so she gets to go off. And this con woman has the audacity to ask this man if he has no shame. Isn't it great? She says it with a straight face. Look at that. I guess she is smirking a little bit. I guess she kind of is smirking a little bit.
The people who are now, you're asking to trust you to go and be their voice for them, their families, and their kids in Washington?
Tulsi, I can say the same thing about the Democrats and the party. Look at Joe Biden. Joe Biden's been lying to the American people.
He's gonna
for 40
what
years.
about
He's the
it?
President of the United States. Democrats resoundingly support him. Do they have no shame? Look, I've made this very clear.
This is not about the Democratic Party, though. This is about your.
He's motherfucking caught with his pants down. Why did Nancy Pelosi do this to me?
Relationship, frankly, with the people who've entrusted you to go and fight for them. And I think one of the questions that really probably hits home to a lot of people is are you Jewish? We've got a letter that your campaign sent out earlier this year, which reads as follows. As a proud American Jew, I've been to Israel numerous times for educational, business, and leisurely trips. You said there in that letter that you are, quote, a proud American Jew. How do you explain that?
My heritage is Jewish. I've always identified as Jewish. I was raised a practicing Catholic. I think I've gone through this. Even I've not being raised a practicing Jew. I've always joked with friends and circles, even with in the campaign, I'd say, guys, I'm Jewish. Remember, I was raised Catholic. So, look, I understand everybody wants to nitpick at me.
Oh, man. Oh, yes, Daddy, give it to me. Give it to me.
Practicing Jew, I've always joked with friends and circles, even with in the campaign, I'd say, guys, I'm Jewish. Remember, I was raised Catholic. So, look, I understand everybody wants to nitpick at me. I'm going to reassure this once and for all.
Nothing, Tulsi.
I'm not a facade. I'm not a persona. I have an extensive career.
Nothing. She's got nothing on that one. She's got nothing on the Jewish. She's got nothing on Jewish. Even the fucking, look at this. They had the banner ready, dude. Even the banner guy was on it. Tulsi just like, whoop. Oh, wow. Oh, yeah, baby. That's the good shit, dude. Put that shit right in my veins, man. Does anyone remember, Lenny, you'll remember this one. Remember, Larry, what's his name? You see, foot tap, bathroom. Yeah, Larry Craig. Does anyone remember Larry Craig and the Larry Craig scandal? Anyone remember the Larry Craig scandal? Let me update you for those. Of course, Lenny remembers. Let me update you just give you a quick rundown, okay? So, you know, back in the early 2000s, I think that's when this happened. 2007. Yeah, 2007. So in 2007, old Larry Craig here was apparently this is a popular thing in the gay community in certain airports and stuff like that. I don't think they do it as much anymore, right? This is all before apps and stuff, right? So this guy goes into a bathroom looking for a little glory hole action, right? And they have a secret code where you sit down at the toilet stall and then you use your foot and you kind of like, you know, you tap the other guy's foot, right? You tap the other guy's foot and that's how you let him know. Well, apparently Larry Craig went in there and there just so happened to be a sting operation going on and he tapped the foot of a cop. And he tapped the foot of a cop, and the cop put in the arrest report that when he identified himself as a cop right after Larry Craig tapped his foot, he heard a loud "No" coming from the other stall because Larry Craig knew it was all over, right? So, and this is why I bring this up right here. This is the best part, and people who remember the story will remember this. His excuse Okay, this is Jewish, okay? His excuse for why he tapped the other guy's foot was that he says he when he uses the bathroom, he sits with a wide stance. He sits with a wide stance. Right? Jewish. Wide stance. Yeah, I straddle. I'm spread wide eagle, man. I got testicles the size of bowling balls, and I gotta give him a lot of room there. So I just accidentally tapped his foot. I wasn't asking for gay sex or anything. No way. So he eternally became. Let's see if they have it in the wiki. Wide stance. Yeah. According to the arrest report, Craig stated he has a wide stance when going to the bathroom, and that his foot may have touched mine. Craig never used the term wide stance himself, according to the transcript of the blah 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 blah. Oh man. Oh god. They're shameless clowns, and we should be ashamed of ourselves for allowing these people to defeat us. Right? We should be ashamed of ourselves that these clowns are the one that DeSantis is well on his way to being emperor of the United States. They're absolute clowns, and they're defeating us. They're beating us. Says something, really. It really does. Anyway, moving on from Mr. Wide Stance and Mr. Jewish. Could you imagine? That's it. I didn't think it could get any lamer than Elizabeth Warren pretending she was a Native American. But man, that barrel has gotten one hell of a bottom. It just goes and we need David Cameron to get in his fucking sub to get to the bottom of this barrel, man. Oh, good times. All right. I believe this was from John Axel in the Discord. This is a great article. And this is not talked about. I'm actually shocked to see this on MSNBC News. What is not talked about is the racial element. Yeah, I think that's important. But another thing I take that back. This is an article about blatant racism, but I would never see an article on MSNBC that points out the fact that Trump, after he lost the election, changed the head of the Capitol riot police. I think it's the CIA or some intelligence agency that runs the Capitol Police. But they were compromised. The Capitol Police. And obviously he didn't call the National Guard right away. That's talked about. But the Capitol Police themselves, the story about the Capitol Police letting protesters through, opening gates, taking selfies, high-fiving the protesters. There was mixed communication, right? About don't be hard, the equipment that they were using was wildly inaccurate, inadequate for the job. That's never talked about. But this is interesting as well, because I think it's true. I would say not just black. I would say just politically aligned to the left. If and I say this all the time, if the protesters were doing that for single payer health care, we would have seen people's heads get cracked open with billy clubs. And it was interesting watching the Capitol Police. They were like kid gloves pushing back and they busted out the mace and but really I didn't see a lot of what we saw. We saw earlier at the beginning of the US portion, how they treat hippies, protesters they don't like. Of course, that's not the Capitol Police, but you get my idea. There was clearly kid gloves being used against these protesters, and I would say it's not just race. I would say it's the fact that they were politically aligned to the right. The fact that bear mace is for sale in shops is also a bit of a force imbalance. Capitol Police were quite reserved. It was amazing watching it live. right? Because I was asking, where's the Gestapo? Where are the stormtroopers that always come out? Like, you know, because we just got done dealing with BLM protesting, and we saw exactly what police do. So yeah, William J. Walker testifies before a Senate Committee on Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs in Washington. House Sergeant at Arms, who was the head of the D.C. National Guard during the attack of the Capitol, told the January 6th community that the law enforcement response would have looked much different had the rioters been Black Americans. I'm African American, child of the 60s. I think it would have been vastly different response if those were African Americans trying to breach the Capitol, William J. Walker told congressional investigators in an interview. As a career law enforcement officer, part-time soldier, in the last 5 years, full, but a law enforcement officer my entire career, the law enforcement response would have been different. All right. That's interesting that a person in such a high position of power would say that. The head of the DC National Guard. Interesting. He thought more people in the crowd would have died if the mob had been largely black instead of overwhelmingly white. Well, what are you going to do about it, man? Yeah. Gee, if only someone was in charge to actually do something about that. All right, well, whatever. Interesting. If you want to read the rest of the article, it's right here. Like I said, I really do think that the big story that's not being talked about is the complacency and complicity. That's a word. They were complicit, the Capitol Police. Partially. There was disagreement in the ranks on how to deal with them, clearly. Loads of decisions to stand them down and not put much protection barrier staffing. Yeah, it's just and you're not going to see that on Morning Joe, right? Because they love to slob the fucking police's knob, dude. They you know, the January 6th committee put some of the police officers who risked their lives and were traumatized, but they put them like front and center. So I guess they just saw it as like hypocritical or just a bad PR look. I don't know. All right, but like there was just the January 6th committee did zero discussion about the failure. I mean, maybe, I don't know. Does anyone? I watched every one of them. I don't remember them talking about the failure of the Capitol Police to respond adequately. Maybe it was mentioned here and there, but it certainly wasn't a focus, right? Moving on, we're getting near the end of our U.S. news here. Republican Party loses more financial corporate support due to anti-woke agenda. So I found this interesting that, and to me, this is just further proof as to why the Republicans are pulling out all the stops and are going full authoritarian, full anti-democracy, because they see that they're losing support from all different angles, and this is a pretty big one. As Republicans get ready to take control of the House of Representatives in January, their staunch quote-unquote anti-woke agenda has isolated what used to be a longtime ally in the corporate world, the financial investment industries. The investment firms targeted by Republicans manage client investments in publicly traded companies and have a major influence on company operations, policies, and affiliations with non-government organizations. The motivation of the GOP efforts in maintaining the current level of fossil fuel use to support their special interest groups, so the party has been persistent in its attempts to minimize large investment firms pushing climate and social agendas, also known as environmental, social, and governance, ESG goals. Welcome back, Iwildari. It's a sad state of affairs when the trolls get back before the viewers that are not trolls. What's the real story behind the manufactured war? Sierra Club director Ben Cushing wrote in a December 8 post. It is an insidious, coordinated effort among Republican elected officials, conservative dark money groups, and fossil fuel interests that is attempting to block progress to make the financial sector more sustainable. Republican politicians serving fossil fuel donors want to force institutions to ignore those risks, which puts their constituents' savings and the entire economy in jeopardy. The GOP attack on investment firms is coming at both the federal and state levels, and current GOP legislation from Senator Dan Sullivan of Alaska and Representative Blaine Luetkemeyer from Missouri would require managers of passive investment funds to vote on corporate shareholder proposals in accordance with the instructions of their investors, according to Politico. A major target of the GOP's efforts against the investment community is the giant BlackRock investment firm, which is an incredibly damaging and dangerous investment firm that is one of the main reasons why we're paying so much more in housing prices. Not you, Zio. I mean, you pissed me off, but not as much as Equaldari did. Yeah, so this BlackRock investment firm is incredibly dangerous. And specifically its CEO, Larry Fink, as the firm manages nearly $8 trillion of investments and has the political power and capital to go toe-to-toe with the Republican Party. Fink has been outspoken advocate for ESG goals, and he has pushed hard for companies that BlackRock invests in to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. So there's a lot of oligarchs that see the writing on the wall. Look, guys, you know, there's a lot of oligarchs that aren't in oil, and they don't care. They don't have oil businesses. And they're like, yeah, I actually would like to continue to profit on planet Earth instead of making planet Earth into an unlivable slag heap. So, you know, I would like to have customers in the next 200 years. So they actually don't agree with this, you know, Bush style political agenda of like destroying renewable energy initiatives and upgrading our energy grid and keep everything in the 50s and 60s, keep everything at that petroleum era level, so that Saudi Arabia and fucking, you know, all the other motherfucking, you know, big oil companies can continue to rake it in. And there's a lot of companies that are like, no. There's a lot of money to be made in renewables, and there's actually a lot of money to be saved. You know, for example, if you run a logistics company and you have a lot of trucks and you're spending millions of dollars on fuel, there's a big incentive for technology to catch up with your industry so that you can replace your trucks with a greener alternative that costs you less in maintenance and just overall fuel costs, right? That's the idea. They see the savings. And it's the same thing with single payer healthcare. There's a lot of companies that are like, yeah, that would actually save me tens of millions of dollars if I didn't have to handle healthcare for all my employees. I really don't understand. I'm like, I understand Walmart because they subsidize their healthcare with the government already. They just do it in a really sneaky way. I just don't get companies like Amazon and stuff, you know, that have tens of thousands of employees, and then they're paying out all these benefits, and then they lobby to keep, to keep single payer healthcare from happening. It's a massive benefit for companies. Anyway, I'm ranting. Anyway, it's evidence that the Republicans they're fully aware that nobody likes them, that they get along with nobody, and that's why they are desperately trying to radically change our democracy so that they no longer have to worry about these pesky opinions. They're going to tell the industries what to do. They're going to tell the American people what to do, who to fuck, who to love, all these things, right? What you learn at school, what you can say on the internet, all these different things. They know that they're not going to win these fights democratically, right? So it's a fight for survival for them. It's either we take the whole thing by force, or we just or we're the Whigs, right? If you look into American history, there's a political party, it used to be called the Whigs. They became politically irrelevant, and they were absorbed into, I don't know, maybe the Democratic Party, something like that. But they see their political irrelevance. They see that on the horizon. They got all the polls, they got all the data, they see it. They know it's there. And they're doing everything they're not going to change their mind. They're not going to all of a sudden start agreeing with, because they tried that, they didn't really like it. They tried maybe getting along, log cabin Republican kind of stuff. I don't know, maybe we'll try that. Not really, Oh, they became the Conservative Party. Thank you. I wasn't quite sure which way they went. Also, the Republicans back in the era of the Whigs were also a completely different party. Same thing with Democrats. Anyway, just further evidence of what I'm talking about. This is perfectly in line. This next article here, where law goes to die, legal expert buries Trumpy Fifth Circuit for creating chaos. So this is the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals, I believe. And this is part of Steve Bannon's plan, okay? Install partisans at a local and federal level wherever you can, especially in lifetime positions like judges and Supreme Court positions. Install highly partisan, full-on, psychopaths into these boring positions that have like, maybe 5,000 voters show up. Less than 5,000 voters. Some of these races are decided on, it's like 500 people show up to vote. These local races, these judges, these sheriffs. Install partisans at every one of these levels, right? And then once we actually go for it, once we actually do another Trump January 6th style theft of democracy, we won't have that resistance that we had before, that systemic resistance, right? We'll have people that are like, yes, let's break the status quo, let's destroy this norm. That's basically what I'm here for. I'm going to choose party over country, partisanship over country. Let's do it. It's now legal, right? If enough of these people were in place, we would have saw the Mike Pence plan go through. Because let's not forget this. Everyone being like, Mike Pence is a fucking hero. Mike Pence entertained the idea and made sure 100% that there was no legal way for him to do this. He checked with all of his people. It was just too legally hairy at the moment. There was just too many. All these Republicans. Oh, I'm so principled. I'm so principled. One of those guys that was all like, I'm so principled, was literally asked after the January 6th, after the interviews, would you vote for Trump again? Yep, I'd vote for Trump again. They're not principled. This isn't about principles. It wasn't them standing up for anything. It was them being like, there's just no legal path to do this. So as long as it's legal, as long as they open up those pathways, they're perfectly fine destroying democracy. It's all good as long as it technically looks legal and it's all set, right? That's what John Yoo was. Lenny remembers John Yoo from the Bush administration. He's the lawyer that George Bush dredged up from the pits of hell to justify enhanced interrogation, aka torture. By the way, John Yoo now enjoys a nice little media career, going on MSNBC and CNN being interviewed. John Yoo, motherfucking war criminal, needs to be in jail. John Yoo being treated like an expert on Morning Joe or some shit. On Tuesday, writing for Vox, legal expert Ian Millhiser took a sledgehammer to the Court of Appeals for the Fifth Circuit, a judicial body serving Texas, Louisiana, and Mississippi, loaded with Trump appointees and other highly partisan conservatives, as the place where law goes to die, and where Trumpy judges routinely blow up precedent and cause chaos so severe that even the Supreme Court, itself a hard right body, has frequently had to step in and rein them back. So the current, thank you for coming back, Lenny. So the current crop of Supreme Court justices, it's these guys are just too right wing, and they're blowing away precedent. If you don't know what legal precedent is, it's look it up, Wikipedia it. It's very important, legal precedent. And them blowing up legal precedent is huge. Quote, the Fifth Circuit has in recent months, listen to this, declared an entire federal agency unconstitutional. This is an attack against America. And stripped another of its authority to enforce federal laws protecting investors from fraud. Okay, this isn't like an investigation in the FBI finding corruption and fixing it, right? This is them saying, the entire thing, investigation, no, carte blanche, kill it, destroy it, get rid of it. This is not how things should be done, right? Because the Department of Homeland Security should be destroyed, right? But there should be a process for destroying it. You can't just someone with a personality, right? You can't just come in and make these decisions. That's not how things should work, right? Because maybe they're doing a federal agency that I hate and I want them to destroy it. That's great. Yeah, but then they go after Social Security or whatever, right? We can't let them do this. Stripped another of its authority to enforce federal laws protecting investors from fraud. Gee, why would you do that? Protecting investors from fraud? No, this is America. Get fucked. It permitted Texas Republicans to effectively seize control of content moderation at social media sites like Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Seize control. That basically, I don't like this, ban it, ban it, ban it. Oh, this thing that I like, make sure everyone in Texas sees this on their Facebook. I demand it, right? Saudi Arabia, China style social media management. Less than a year ago, the Fifth Circuit forced the Navy to deploy sailors who defied an order to take the COVID vaccine. Despite the Navy's warning that a sick service member could sideline an entire vessel or force the military to conduct a dangerous mission to extract a Navy SEAL with COVID, wrote Millhiser. Now, I don't know if I fully agree with this idea that the military should be allowed to just inject you with anything and do whatever the hell it wants with your body. But at the same time, I'm also hearing, and I agree with the argument that the military shouldn't be, it shouldn't have an anti-vax stance, for the sake of some kind of personal liberty, especially because vaccines have been proven to be totally safe. We've had them in our bodies for decades. They actually, cured many diseases, and they might not cure, but eliminated many diseases. Anyway, so I don't actually want to just come to the defense of the military-industrial complex on this one. At the same time, I think it's perfectly okay for them to say, look, if you want to be a sailor, you have to have certain, vaccination. And if you refuse those vaccinations, then we're going to kick you out. They would say, oh, well, then if you want to leave, then all you need to do is pretend to have COVID. And I would ask them, why would you want a soldier that, why would you want to keep a soldier around that doesn't want to fight? I get there's a chain of command thing as well. There's you can't have mutiny. You don't want to encourage mutiny. You can't have a system that basically allows mutiny. I get it. It's complicated. It's not as cut and dry. But at the same time, it's yeah, they let you be discharged, I think, but they have the ability to require surgeons to be vaccinated against hepatitis or something. I mean, in the medical profession, it's I'm perfectly okay with passing a law that says, look, if you're going to be a nurse or a doctor, there are certain vaccines that you have to have. Period. For your own safety, for your own safety. And if you're just uncomfortable with these vaccines, and then maybe the medical profession is not the right profession for you. It's weird. It's weird being in the medical profession, but then being an anti-science advocate. But we, because of religion, we do have that dichotomy here in the United States. Find it hard to see the distinction. Mandatory for U.S. service people to get up to 17 vaccines, depending on where they're being deployed. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think this is a really tough one, right? But the chain of command, the fact that vaccines are not harmful, and that the entire argument hinges on this idea, this false idea that vaccines are somehow harmful to people. Right. So what, are you allowed to weaken an entire military based off your own superstitions? Right. I think that's kind of what we're dealing with here. Anyway, this is Steve Bannon's plan. This is Steve Bannon's master plan. And this is in full effect. This is how it's going to work. Okay. So when the next January 6th happens, when the next martial law scenario or DeSantis loses his reelection, these are the people that are going to make sure that democracy is stolen legally. Okay. We have an entertaining video from your boy Andrew Callahan on Channel 5 News. He's been making the rounds big time. He's got a Netflix special or a HBO special. What's it called? It's Awesome Here or some shit. It's a very Zoomer style title to This Place Rules. That's the name of his documentary. And it's just about him, getting kicked off of No Gas, No Brakes, or All Gas, No Brakes. And then starting his own journey and being successful, and it's good. It's good journalism. I have some criticisms about some of the topics that he covers. I just think a lot of the stuff he does is sick memes. It's whatever. I guess the Zoomers require that kind of buttering up to get them to listen to real news. But the interviews that he does do with not serious, because the reason why he's so good at interviewing is that he doesn't take it seriously. Oh. Okay. Yeah. Hey, bud. All righty. Thank you so much, honey. Thank you so much. Oh, such, such brilliant prose. Thank you so much. Okay, bye-bye. So anyway, ultimately, I like what Andrew Callahan's up to. He got kicked off of that. I thought he was just him anyway. He started it, then he for him to get the trailer, he signed a contract with somebody and it got all weird and some bullshit, right? So he dropped them and then he started doing his own thing, and obviously he's been very successful. And I actually have the t-shirt. I got some pens from Channel 5. I think he's doing great work. At the same time, I'm a millennial. I'm not a Zoomer, so some of the shit, goes over my head or just makes me cringe. But anyway, good video.
Biden has been getting about 70% of the mail-in ballots.
By the time I got to Philly, shit was popping off. As more mail-in ballots rolled in, Pennsylvania flipped from red to blue overnight. This was a huge loss for Trump, and within hours, the Trump team actually sued the state of Pennsylvania, claiming that pollsters in Philly were rigging ballots for Biden.
President Trump has won Pennsylvania.
We have filed for federal relief.
Yeah.
What we documented in...
I'd like to point out that none of these politicians that did everything in their power to destroy democracy have seen a single bit of scrutiny or even, certainly not a day in jail.
Philly was the first ever Stop the Steal rally.
Jesus Christ hates women presidents. Trump is an alpha man. Joe Biden's a beta man.
One of them weirdos got in my face with the megaphone and yelled that I'm a faggot. Do I look like a faggot? I'm not knocking anybody that's gay. It's not nice. That's what they call me, Ron. Listen, can I tell you why I'm pissed off?
Yes.
Every ounce of soda you drink, you got to pay $1.50 tax. You got to pay $1 for the Coke so the guy can make 30.
Buddy, you don't need any more soda, honey. You got, that tax might be giving you an extra 10 years on your fucking ignorant little life. This guy don't need any more soda, y'all.
30 cents. How does it make you feel? It's not an elected official who should tell us what to do. They got to get them out of here. They don't.
At the same time, though, I mean, taxes on things like sugar and cigarettes and all that other shit are basically taxes on the poor. I don't know how we fix that, because I hate cigarettes, and we absolutely do need to do something about the diabetes epidemic and the overconsumption of salt and sugar in general. I don't have all the answers on that one, but I also don't agree with just carte blanche, like they did in New York, right? That's clearly where he's from. That's what he's talking about, de Blasio's soda tax. And I don't know if I agree with that either, because I mean, but I do agree. I'm fucking Larry David here, but I do agree that taxation on certain things is essential so that you're directing behavior in a certain way. That's the whole point of government, is to direct human behavior in the right direction. Oh man, this is kind of a tough one. I guess I need to do an entire stream on just the soda tax for me to really figure out if I agree with it or not. With that said, I don't know if Homeboy needs to be drinking any more soda. Just saying.
Don't belong on either side. Let me tell you another thing that's pissing me off.
The election is a steaming crock of hog drippings. I can't believe that Americans would really elect an idiot who has the intellect of a bag of carrots, along with his vice presidential running mate, who's a total whore. And let's face it, she's a whore. Kamala Harris was a law clerk.
The personal attack.
Shut up, jerk-off.
See, all you have are personal attacks, and all you have are incoherent arguments.
Shut up, because I got free speech. It is legal to beat up and maybe even kill people who wear MAGA hats. The cops will not do anything to protect you. And
boy, I'm not going to touch that one. I'm certainly not going to say, if only.
Now I
would never say that.
I sort of, kind of know.
Wait, what the hell is this title? Erotic horror film actor? What? Anyone remember that Nicolas Cage movie? What was it, 7mm? And there was a character called the Gimp. Is he the Gimp? Is he the one in the snuff films?
I can say I sort of, kind of know what it must have been like to be a Jew in Germany on January 30th of 1933. This is a civil war, the second civil war.
No evidence. There's no evidence of voter fraud. I don't know where they're getting their facts from. My vote is in that convention center, and I want it counted.
Hopefully they hurry up with legalizing weed in New Jersey. These are good things that we're fighting for.
The Democratic Party has gone communist. They've gone insane. And I will fight to my death, fighting the evil of progressive liberalism.
I'm feeling a little militant, I ain't gonna lie.
If it gets darker and the lights shut off, we're gonna probably get bloody here. I mean, in a way, I don't want my parents to weep, but I'm for establishing a strong nationalist, Christian-based nation. Christofash. That's what we want to do.
Christian fascist?
Yeah, I promise you, before inauguration, we're going to have a few bodies. I want to see Trump supporters turn into Antifa. It's going to be hilarious, you know? They're gonna wind up attacking the other side finally, grow a pair. Because whites in America are basically giving up their beliefs to make others feel comfortable. And
Folks, we used to call these people crackpots, and we used to ignore them. You know? We used to disregard them and just vote against them. Right, but you know, like I was criticizing Dylan Burns on Twitter for this. I was like, the left spends so much time giving these people spotlights. You know, it's they're kooks. They're kooks.
I see it as
no, I mean they can't be ignored, but they also can't be entertained. You know, we must understand that they're there and we got to fight against them. That's what I'm talking about, right? But it's like, I don't know, you put a microphone in front of his, I don't know. I guess, I don't know. They're Looney Tunes, you know? Even, you know, put him up. I guess there's characters on the left as well that are just as kooky.
As put the whites first, you know?
Do you ever feel like you've gone too far down the rabbit hole, man?
Whatever I'm trying to dig deep into is going to put me in a grave.
Cool, bud. Cool. Really cool. Final bit of U.S. news I wanted to show everybody. Real classic. Pick this up from combat footage. Dude's into digging himself a grave. Nice. I mean, like, what kind of political ideology is that? I mean, I'm a Christo-fascist. I want to die. Okay, nihilist. You know, I can't wait for Trump supporters to turn into Antifa. Like, they want chaos, you know. But they're not even close to a majority. They're a tiny fraction of a fraction of a fraction. They used to be called crackpots. This is a cool video. American P-51 Mustang attacking a Luftwaffe airfield as the Germans try to take off. They say it's not safe for work, but you don't see any dead bodies or anything. It's just amazing. Like the German planes are literally on the runway trying to take off, and this fucking P-51 Mustang just pop, boom, blowing one up, dude. It's just like crazy. This is right out of World War II. So yeah, there's one on the ground trying to take off. Sprayed that one. Going around for a second hit. Oh. Third run. More of them. Love that shit, man. Those Nazis get fucked. He's flying low too, man. And this is not easy. This is not easy because you have to point your nose down to accurately hit what you're aiming at, right? So you can see the pilot right here. He's you know, tearing into this guy, but then he has to correct, and then he has to dip down just for a second to burp him, and then he's like 50 feet above him, man. Wild. That's World War II. That's your grandpa and granddaddy up there. Whew, crazy. All right. So there you go. That's U.S. news. Boy, we dragged on. I don't have any viewers except for the cool people. But who cares? Thank you for viewing. Make sure you check out the link in the description. Come on over to Twitch, where you can see this mediocre stream live. We'd love to have you. Thank you so much.